Imagine a world suspended in stillness, a midnight so deep that even the stars seem to hush their ancient whispers. The air is heavy with quiet, as if the universe itself is holding its breath, waiting for something unseen to stir. In this serene, almost otherworldly moment, a question emerges from the silence, soft yet insistent, like the first ripple on a glassy lake. What if everything you know, everything you feel, everything you are, is nothing more than a construct of your own mind? What if reality, with all its vivid colors and piercing truths, is merely a shadow cast by the flickering light of your consciousness? Sit with that thought for a moment. Let it settle into the quiet corners of your awareness. We often take the world around us as an unshakable certainty. The cool touch of a breeze, the distant hum of life, the weight of our own existence. But what if these sensations are not the anchors we believe them to be? What if they are illusions, meticulously woven by a mind so intricate that it deceives even itself? This is not a new riddle, nor is it a fleeting fancy. It is a question that has haunted thinkers across centuries, from the ancient philosophers who gazed into the void of their own thoughts to the modern scientists who probe the edges of perception. They all circle back to the same enigma. Is there a reality beyond what we perceive, or are we the architects of all that exists? Picture yourself standing at the edge of a vast, unseen ocean. You cannot see the water, nor hear its waves, but you sense its presence, an endless expanse that shifts and breathes just beyond your grasp. This is consciousness, the invisible force that shapes the world as you know it. It is not merely a tool for understanding, it is the canvas upon which understanding is painted. But here lies the puzzle that warps the very fabric of our certainty. If consciousness creates reality, then what created consciousness? Are we caught in a loop, a dream that dreams itself into being, with no beginning and no end? Take a moment to reflect on this. Let your thoughts wander to the edges of that unseen ocean. Feel the weight of the question, not as a burden, but as a quiet invitation to wonder. Consider the possibility that every sunrise you've witnessed, every fleeting joy or piercing sorrow, might be a story told by your mind to itself. There is no need for answers just yet, only the gentle pull of curiosity, drawing you deeper into the mystery. This idea, that perception might be the ultimate illusion, is not meant to unsettle, though it may stir a faint unease. It is meant to awaken a sense of awe at the sheer complexity of what it means to be aware. Imagine a mirror that does not reflect your face, but the very act of seeing. You look into it, and instead of familiar eyes staring back, you find only questions, layer upon layer of riddles about who is truly looking. This is the whisper of consciousness, a voice so soft it can only be heard in the stillness of a midnight, like this. It beckons you to question not just the world, but the one who perceives it. As you linger in this thought, let the quiet of the night wrap around you like a gentle shroud. There is no rush to unravel the enigma, no urgency to define what cannot be easily grasped. For now, it is enough to sit with the possibility that reality, in all its splendor and chaos, might be a fragile dream spun from the threads of your own mind. Let that possibility breathe. Let it rest beside you as the world holds its breath just a little longer. Imagine for a moment that you are standing before a mirror in the stillness of a dimly lit room. The world outside has faded into a hush, and all that remains is the faint flicker of candlelight dancing across the glass. You gaze at your reflection, but something feels different this time. It's not just your face staring back. It's as if the mirror holds a deeper truth, a silent question whispering from the depths of your own eyes. Who is looking? What is looking? This is the enigma of self-awareness, a mystery that seems to fold in on itself, like a riddle with no end. Consider the nature of this mirror. It doesn't merely reflect your features. It seems to capture something intangible, something that transcends the physical. When you look into your own eyes, there's a strange sense of recognition, yet also a profound alienation. You know this is you, but do you truly understand what you means? Self-awareness is a peculiar gift, or perhaps a burden, a moment where consciousness turns inward and gazes upon itself. It's as if the mind becomes both the observer and the observed, caught in a quiet, endless dance. How can something be aware of its own awareness? The very thought twists like a labyrinth, each turn leading to another question, another shadowed corner of wonder. Think back to the earliest moments when you might have recognized yourself. Perhaps it was as a child, standing before a mirror, much like this one, suddenly struck by the realization that the figure before you was not another, but you. In that instant, a spark ignited, a sense of separateness, of being a self distinct from the world. Philosophers across centuries have pondered this spark. In ancient Greece, Socrates urged us to know thyself, as if self-awareness were the key to unlocking the mysteries of existence. Yet, the more we seek to know, the more elusive the self becomes. Is it a construct, a fleeting illusion woven by the mind? Or is there something eternal, something unshakable, peering through the mirror of our thoughts? Let's linger on this paradox for a moment. To be aware of awareness is to stand at the edge of a precipice, looking down into an abyss of infinite reflection. If you are conscious of being conscious, then who is the one noticing that consciousness? Is there a deeper layer, a hidden watcher behind the watcher? Some traditions speak of the soul as this silent observer, a presence that exists beyond thought, beyond even the concept of self. Others argue that this layering is an illusion, a trick of the mind creating echoes where there is only silence. Take a moment to reflect on this. What do you feel when you turn your attention inward? Is there a stillness, a presence, or merely the hum of your own thoughts circling back to meet themselves? Now, imagine that this mirror before you is not made of glass, but of time itself. Each glance into it reveals not just who you are now, but who you have been and who you might become. Self-awareness ties us to memory, to anticipation, to the stories we tell ourselves about our place in the world. But what if this storytelling is the mirror's greatest deception? What if the self we perceive is nothing more than a tapestry of fleeting impressions, stitched together by a mind desperate for coherence? In the quiet of this moment, the boundary between the real and the imagined blurs. Are you the one looking into the mirror, or is the mirror looking into you? As you stand there, let this mystery settle over you like a soft mist. There is no need for answers, no rush to define what cannot be defined. Self-awareness is a threshold, a doorway that opens onto the vast expanse of consciousness itself. It invites us to question, to wonder, to feel the weight of our own existence. And in that questioning, there is a strange kind of peace, a recognition that the riddle of the self may never be solved, yet it is in the asking that we come alive. So, linger here a little longer in the quiet space between reflection and reality, and let the mystery breathe. Imagine for a moment that you're lying in bed, the world around you hushed, the edges of reality softening as your mind begins to drift. It's in this liminal space between wakefulness and slumber that the ordinary rules of time and place seem to dissolve. You're not quite here, not quite elsewhere, suspended in a realm where the impossible feels tangible. What if, in this very moment, you're not truly awake at all? What if this fleeting sense of being is just a dream within, a dream, a fragile layer of illusion stacked upon another, endlessly receding into the unknown? Picture a scene so vivid, yet so strange. You're walking through a forest, the trees swaying gently, though there's no wind, their whispers forming words you can't quite grasp. The path beneath your feet shifts, now a cobblestone street, now a river of glass, and you realize time itself has lost its grip. Hours pass in a heartbeat, or perhaps a single second stretches into eternity. You reach out to touch the world, but your hand passes through it like mist. And then, with a start, you awaken, or so you think. The room is familiar, the faint hum of the night outside grounding you. But a quiet doubt lingers. How can you be certain this is the waking world? What if you've merely slipped into another layer of the dream, a deeper illusion that mimics reality so perfectly you cannot tell the difference? This is the enigma we face when we consider the nature of our existence. The boundary between dream and reality is not a solid wall, but a gossamer veil, so thin it might tear at the slightest touch. Philosophers and poets have long wrestled with this uncertainty. In ancient texts, like those of the Chinese sage Zhuangzi, we find a man who dreams he is a butterfly, fluttering through a sunlit meadow, only to wake and wonder if he is not, in fact, a butterfly dreaming he is a man. This riddle echoes through the centuries, asking us to confront the fragility of what we call real. Is there a definitive awakening, a final layer where illusion falls away and truth stands bare? Or are we destined to wander through nested dreams, each one feeling as solid as the last until it, too, dissolves? Consider the texture of your own dreams for a moment. How often have you been utterly convinced of their reality, only to jolt, awake and marvel at the mind's trickery? The emotions were raw, the details sharp, a conversation with a loved one, the weight of a decision, the thrill of flight. Yet it was all woven from nothing, a tapestry of thought unspooling in the dark. If the mind can craft such convincing worlds while we sleep, what assurance do we have that this moment, this very breath, isn't another of its creations? Take a moment to reflect on this. Let the question settle into the quiet corners of your awareness, like a pebble dropped into still water, rippling outward. The deeper we peer into this mystery, the more unsettling it becomes. Modern science tells us that during sleep, our brains simulate entire realities, activating the same neural pathways used in waking life. The visual cortex paints landscapes, the auditory centers conjure voices, and the emotional core of us trembles, with joy or fear, all without a shred of external input. If our minds are such masterful architects of illusion, how can we trust the scaffolding of the world we perceive right now? Perhaps reality is not a fixed point, but a spectrum, with dreaming and waking as mere shades of the same uncertain light. And so, we are left with a haunting possibility that the line we draw between what is real and what is not may be nothing more than a comforting fiction. Imagine yourself as a traveler in an endless labyrinth of dreams, each corridor leading to another, each awakening a false dawn. There is no map, no guide, only the faint suspicion that the walls themselves are made of thought. Yet, in this uncertainty, there is also a strange beauty, a reminder that reality, whether dream or truth, is a story we tell ourselves. As you linger in this thought, let it carry you deeper into the quiet of the night, where answers are not needed, only the gentle weight of the question itself. Imagine, for a moment, that the world you know, every fleeting emotion, every vivid sunset, every whispered thought, is nothing more than a string of code, a carefully crafted illusion woven by an unseen architect. What if the fabric of your reality, the very essence of your existence, is not born of flesh and bone, but of data and design? This is not a tale of science fiction, but a haunting possibility that lingers at the edge of modern thought, a quiet whisper that asks, are we truly real, or are we merely shadows dancing in a simulated dream? Let's step into this enigma together, treading softly into a world where the boundaries of what is and what seems to be blur into indistinct haze. Picture a vast, invisible machine, its mechanisms humming beyond the reach of our senses, generating every detail of our lives with meticulous precision. The laughter of a friend, the warmth of the morning sun, the ache of a distant memory. Could these be mere lines of programming, crafted to evoke a response, to mimic the chaos of life? The idea creeps in like a cold draft through an unseen crack, chilling yet strangely compelling. If this world is a simulation, then who, or what, designed it? Is there a purpose to our scripted existence? Or are we simply an experiment, a fleeting curiosity in the mind of something far greater? Consider the implications of such a reality. Every choice you've ever made, every path you've walked, might not be the result of free will, but the inevitable outcome of an algorithm, a predetermined sequence playing out with mechanical certainty. Imagine your deepest desires, your fiercest struggles, reduced to binary flickers in a cosmic computer. Does this diminish the weight of your experiences, or does it cast them in a new, almost poetic light, as if you are a character in a story so intricate that even the illusion of freedom feels achingly real? Take a moment to reflect on this. Let the weight of the questions settle over you like a quiet fog. Are you the author of your life, or merely a reader, bound to turn the pages of a script you cannot see? This concept, often called the simulation hypothesis, isn't a mere flight of fancy, but a serious proposition that has captivated philosophers and scientists alike. It suggests that advanced civilizations, perhaps billions of years ahead of us, could possess the technology to create simulations so detailed, so flawless, that the inhabitants, us, would have no inkling of their artificial nature. If such simulations are possible, the odds that we live in a base reality, an original, unscripted world, become vanishingly small. Instead, we might be one of countless nested illusions, a reality within a reality, our existence a mere echo of code repeating itself through infinite layers. The thought is both dizzying and oddly serene, as if the very act of pondering it connects us to something larger, even if that something is only the ghost of a programmer's intent. And yet, there's a strange comfort in this uncertainty. If we are simulated, then perhaps our flaws, our doubts, our endless searching are not burdens, but features, deliberate strokes in a grand design. Maybe the chaos of life, the beauty and the pain, are not accidents, but art, crafted to evoke something ineffable, something even our creators cannot fully grasp. Or perhaps there is no creator at all, only a self-sustaining system, a simulation born of its own logic, spinning endlessly through a void of ones and zeros. What does it mean to live in such a world? Does the knowledge, or the suspicion, of our simulated state change the way we love, the way we dream, the way we reach for meaning? Let this thought linger as a quiet companion. Imagine looking out at the world anew, seeing not just the surface of things, but the possibility of invisible, scaffolding beneath it all. The stars above, the ground beneath your feet, the very breath in your lungs. Could they be illusions so perfect they fool even the heart? There's no need for answers, not now. Simply let the mystery unfold, a gentle tide washing over the shores of your mind. If we are simulated, then perhaps our greatest act of rebellion, or of grace, is to live as if we are real, to feel, to question, to seek, as if every moment matters beyond the code. Imagine for a moment that the very fabric of the world around you trembles under the weight of your gaze. Picture a silent, invisible dance happening at the smallest scale of existence, where the building blocks of reality hesitate, shift, and change their steps the moment they sense they are being watched. What if the universe itself is shy, revealing one face when observed and another when left alone in the dark? This is not the stuff of fantasy, but a strange truth woven into the heart of quantum physics, a realm where the act of looking can alter what is seen. Let us wander into this unsettling yet mesmerizing idea known as the observer effect. In the quiet laboratories of science, where particles smaller than a whisper are studied, something peculiar unfolds. A particle, a tiny speck of existence, behaves as if it knows it is under scrutiny. When measured or observed, it chooses a definite state, collapsing into certainty, as though caught in the act. But when left unseen, it drifts in a haze of possibilities, existing everywhere and nowhere at once. It is as if reality itself waits for a witness before daring to decide what it will be. Does this not stir a quiet unease within you? The notion that the world might not exist in a fixed form until we turn our eyes upon it? Think of a forest at midnight, untouched by human presence. where the trees stand in stillness, their leaves rustling in a breeze that no one hears? Do they truly fall if no one is there to see it? Or do they hover in a state of endless potential, waiting for a mind to give them shape? This is not merely a riddle, but a reflection of what quantum mechanics suggests, that observation is not passive, but an active force, a brushstroke that paints the canvas of the real. We are not mere spectators in this cosmic theatre. We are unwitting creators, our consciousness entangled with the very nature of what is. Consider how this mirrors the enigma of our own awareness. Are we too like these elusive particles, only fully formed when we are seen by others, by ourselves, by some unseen force? Does reality exist independently, or is it conjured into being by the act of perception? There is a haunting symmetry here, a suggestion that the universe and the mind are not separate but intertwined, each shaping the other in a dance older than time. If a particle changes under the weight of observation, what happens to the world when we turn inward and observe ourselves? Does the act of self-reflection alter the essence of who we are, just as a scientist's gaze alters the path of the unseen? Take a moment to reflect on this. Let your thoughts drift to the idea that reality might be a fragile thing, trembling at the edge of your awareness, waiting for you to look, to acknowledge, to make it whole. What does it mean if the world depends on our perception to exist? Are we the dreamers, or are we the dream, caught in a loop where observation and existence cannot be untangled? Now, imagine standing at the edge of a vast, unseen ocean, where the waves of reality crash and recede with every glance you cast. Each time you look, the tide shifts, forming patterns that only you can see. This is the quiet disturbance of the observer effect. Not a loud proclamation, but a whisper that lingers in the mind. It asks us to reconsider everything we thought we knew about the solidness of the world. What if the chair beneath you, the air you breathe, the thoughts flickering through your consciousness are all waiting for your attention to take shape? What if, in some profound and mysterious way, you are the key to their being? As we linger in this thought, let the weight of it settle over you like a soft, heavy fog. There is no need for answers tonight, only the gentle pull of the question itself. What if reality is not a gift given to us, but a creation born from our gaze? Let this idea drift with you, a quiet companion in the stillness, as we ponder the shy, elusive nature of a universe that seems to blush when seen. Imagine for a moment that you're standing on the edge of a vast, silent river, its surface so still it mirrors the sky above, blending the boundaries of earth and heaven into one seamless illusion. This river, though, isn't made of water. It's time itself, flowing ceaselessly, or so we believe, through the landscape of our lives. But what if this river is only a trick of the mind, a mirage crafted by our own consciousness? What if time, with all its weight and urgency, is nothing more than a story we tell ourselves to make sense of a reality too vast to grasp? Consider how we live within this construct, tethered to the ticking of clocks, the turning of calendars, the relentless march of days into nights. We speak of the past as a place we've left behind, the future as a horizon yet to reach, and the present as a fleeting bridge between the two. Yet have you ever paused to wonder if these distinctions truly exist outside the realm of thought? If you strip away the labels, the memories, the anticipations, what remains of time? Is it a force that governs the universe, or merely a shadow, cast by our awareness, a way to order the chaos of existence into something we can endure? Picture a clock, its hands moving with mechanical precision, a symbol of time's unyielding rule. Now imagine that clock beginning to soften, its edges melting like wax under an unseen flame, the numbers dripping away into nothingness. The hands, slow, then stop, curling inward as if surrendering to a deeper truth. In this moment, time dissolves, not just the clock, but the very idea of it. Without the mind to measure, to remember, to project, does time still flow? Or does it stand still, a frozen eternity that never was and never will be. This is the illusion we inhabit, a fabrication so seamlessly woven into our perception that we rarely question its reality. Philosophers and poets have long sensed this fragility. Heraclitus, the ancient Greek thinker, spoke of stepping into the same river twice as an impossibility, for both the river and the person change with each moment. Yet, what if the river itself is only a thought, a fleeting image in the mind's eye? What if the change we perceive is not a property of the world, but a reflection of how consciousness carves up the infinite into digestible fragments? Take a moment to reflect on this. Close your eyes, if only for a breath, and feel the weight of now. Does it truly feel separate from yesterday or tomorrow? Or is there a quiet continuity, an unbroken stillness beneath the surface of thought? Notice how the mind rushes to label this moment, to place it in a sequence, to anchor it in a narrative of before and after. What happens if you let that impulse fade, if you allow the present to simply be without the scaffolding of time? Now, drift deeper into this mystery. Imagine a world where consciousness never arose, a universe without eyes to see or minds to measure. In such a void, would time exist at all? Without a witness to mark its passage, without a memory to hold its shape, would there be a beginning, a middle, an end? Or would reality simply unfold as an eternal now, an indivisible whole that defies our human need for structure? The very notion sends a shiver through the soul, not of fear, but of awe, a glimpse into a truth that lies just beyond the reach of our understanding. Perhaps time, then, is not a river we travel along, but a lens through which we view the world, a creation of our own making. It binds us to the illusion of progress, of loss, of inevitability, but it also gifts us with meaning, with the poignant beauty of fleeting moments. A child's laughter, a sunset's glow, a final goodbye. These are treasures sculpted by time's hand, or at least by our belief in it. And yet, there's a quiet rebellion in questioning this belief, in daring to see time as a trick, a spell cast by consciousness to keep us tethered to a reality we can comprehend. So, let this thought linger as the night deepens around you. What if the past is not behind you, but within you, a dream you've conjured to explain who you are? What if the future is not ahead, but a projection of your deepest hopes and fears? And what if this very moment, the one you inhabit now, is all there ever is, a single eternal heartbeat in the vast silence of being? Let this mystery wrap around you like a soft, unseen mist, carrying you into a space where questions are enough, where the illusion of time fades into the quiet rhythm of your breath. Imagine for a moment that you are standing before a window, a small, fragile pane of glass set into the wall of an ancient, sprawling mansion. Through this narrow opening, you glimpse a sliver of the world outside, a fleeting play of light, a whisper of wind, the faint hum of something vast and unknowable. But beyond the edges of this frame, there lies a reality so immense, so intricate, that your mind can scarcely fathom it. What if this window, this tiny portal of perception, is all you have to understand the boundless expanse of existence? What if everything you know, everything you believe to be true, is merely the fragment visible through this limited view? Let us linger on this thought as we explore the boundaries of perception, the delicate borderlands where our senses brush against the unknown. Our eyes, remarkable as they are, can only capture a narrow band of light, a mere whisper of the spectrum that dances through the universe. There are colors beyond violet and below red, hues that shimmer in realms we cannot see, painting landscapes our minds can never conjure. Our ears, too, are bound by their own frail limits, deaf to the deep rumbles of the Earth's core or the high-pitched songs of unseen creatures. And what of touch, taste, smell? Each sense is but a keyhole, offering a fleeting peek into a mansion of reality whose halls stretch far beyond our grasp. Consider the possibility that there are dimensions, entire planes of existence that lie just outside our reach. Scientists speak of unseen forces, of particles that flicker in and out of being, of spaces folded into themselves like the pages of an unread book? What if there are textures to reality we cannot feel, frequencies we cannot hear, truths we cannot even imagine because our very biology forbids it? Picture a fish swimming in the depths of a dark ocean, unaware of the sky above, unable to conceive of a world of air and sunlight. Are we not, in some way, like that fish, confined to the waters of our perception, blind to the vastness that surrounds us? And yet, there is a quiet beauty in this limitation, a strange comfort in knowing that reality might be so much more than we can ever comprehend. Perhaps our senses are not barriers but invitations, urging us to wonder about what lies beyond. What unseen colors paint the dreams of beings unlike us? What unheard melodies resonate in the silence of the cosmos? What untouchable dimensions weave through the fabric of our lives, brushing against us in ways we cannot name? Take a moment to reflect on this. Allow your mind to drift to the edges of what you know, to the shadowed corners just beyond your sight. This mystery deepens when we realize that our perception is not merely a passive window, but an active creator of our world. The brain, that enigmatic architect, weaves the raw data of sensation into a coherent story, filling in gaps, painting over uncertainties with the brushstrokes of assumption. What we call reality might be less a reflection of what is, and more, a portrait of what we are capable of seeing. If a tree falls in a forest and no one is there to hear it, does it make a sound? Perhaps the question is not about the tree, but about us. Does anything exist beyond the boundaries of our awareness? Or is reality itself shaped by the narrow frame through which we gaze? Let this thought settle over you like a soft mist, obscuring the familiar and revealing the strange. Imagine standing once more before that window in the vast mansion of existence, peering through the glass with a quiet longing. You cannot see the whole of the house, nor can you map its endless corridors, but you feel its presence, an unspoken weight, a hidden depth. What lies beyond your senses? What truths hum just out of reach, waiting for a mind unbound by human limits to perceive them? As you linger here, in this space of wondering, let the mystery wrap around you, not as a burden, but as a gentle reminder that there is always more to the story, a reality vaster, stranger, and more beautiful than we can ever know. Imagine for a moment that you are not merely an individual, a solitary spark of thought flickering in the vast darkness of existence, but instead a single ripple in an endless ocean of consciousness. What if every idea, every dream, every fleeting emotion you've ever felt is not yours alone, but part of a greater tapestry, woven invisibly through the minds of billions? Picture humanity not as a collection of separate souls, but as a single organism, a colossal mind fragmented into countless perspectives, yet bound by an unseen thread. There is a quiet mystery in this thought, a whisper that beckons us to wonder. Are we truly separate, or are we merely echoes of a collective mind? Let this idea unfold slowly, like mist rising over a still lake at dawn. Consider how a single thought, born in the quiet of one person's mind, can ripple outward, touching others, shaping cultures, altering destinies. A story told by a fire thousands of years ago might still echo in the myths we cherish today. A melody composed in solitude can stir the hearts of strangers across oceans and centuries. There is an invisible web, delicate yet unbreakable, that seems to connect us all, a shared reservoir of longing, fear, hope, and wonder. When you feel a sudden pang of nostalgia for a place you've never been, or an inexplicable kinship with a stranger's gaze, could it be that you are tapping into this deeper current, a consciousness that transcends the boundaries of your own skin? Now let this notion deepen. What if individuality itself, the very sense of I that feels so concrete, so unassailable, is nothing more than a fleeting illusion? Imagine a forest, vast and ancient, where each tree stands tall, proud of its own roots, its own leaves, unaware that beneath the soil, their roots entwine, forming a single, hidden network. Are we like those trees, convinced of our separateness, blind to the unity that pulses beneath the surface. Philosophers and mystics across time have pondered this, from the ancient teachings of Advaita Vedanta, which speak of a singular reality beneath all forms, to modern theories of collective unconsciousness, where the dreams of humanity pool into a shared reservoir of archetypes and symbols. Could it be that every thought you've ever had is not truly yours, but a borrowed whisper from this greater mind? Take a moment to reflect on this. Close your eyes, if only for a breath, and feel the weight of your own separateness. Does it hold, or does it soften, dissolving into something larger, something unknowable? Consider the people you've loved, the strangers who've crossed your path, the countless lives unfolding beyond your sight. What if their joys and sorrows are not so distant from your own, but are in some mysterious way a part of you? There is a quiet ache in this thought, a longing to connect, to remember something we've forgotten, a unity that hums beneath the noise of our divided world. And yet, there is a shadow to this idea, a subtle unease that creeps in like a chill. On a summer night, if we are all part of a collective mind, where does responsibility lie? If my actions, my choices, are shaped by currents beyond my control, by the invisible tides of shared thought, am I truly free, or merely a vessel for something greater? And what of conflict, of the wars and divisions that scar our history? Are they too expressions of this same mind, discordant notes in a symphony we cannot fully hear? The mystery thickens here, refusing easy answers, inviting us instead to sit with the paradox, to feel the tension between oneness and individuality, between connection and solitude. Let this thought linger as a quiet companion. Imagine yourself as a single wave on the surface of an infinite sea, rising for a moment, distinct and proud, before merging once more into the depths. There is no need to resolve this enigma, no urgency to define where you end and the collective begins. Instead, let the possibility of a shared consciousness be a gentle invitation to wonder, to listen more deeply to the world around you, to sense the unspoken bonds that tie us to one another. Perhaps in the stillness of this moment you can feel it, a faint resonance, a whisper of unity, calling softly from the edges of your awareness. Imagine for a moment that you are seated in a dimly lit theatre, the curtains drawn back to reveal a single figure on stage, a marionette, its wooden limbs poised in mid-motion, strings dangling from an unseen hand above. It moves with grace, turning its painted face toward you, and in that frozen gaze, you sense a flicker of intent, a belief in its own freedom. But as the strings twitch and guide its every step, a quiet question emerges from the shadows of your mind. Does this puppet truly choose its dance, or is every gesture scripted by forces beyond its wooden heart? Let us linger here, in this delicate balance between choice and inevitability, as we unravel the paradox of free will. Consider the nature of your own decisions, those moments when you stand at a crossroads, weighing paths that stretch into the uncertain future. Perhaps you recall a time when you chose to speak or remain silent, to stay or to leave, feeling the weight of agency in your hands. But what if that sense of choice is merely a comforting illusion, a story we tell ourselves to mask the intricate machinery beneath? What if every thought, every impulse, is but a ripple in a vast ocean of cause and effect, set in motion long before you ever drew breath? The idea is unsettling, like discovering that the ground beneath your feet is not solid earth, but a thin veneer over an endless abyss. Yet there is a strange calm in this possibility, a surrender to the rhythm of a dance we did not choreograph. Let us drift back through the annals of thought, to ancient minds who wrestled with this same enigma. In the shadowed courts of Greek philosophy, voices like Epictetus whispered of a stoic acceptance, suggesting that while we cannot control the winds of fate, we can adjust our sails. Across centuries, others countered with the doctrine of determinism, arguing that every event, every choice, is the inevitable result of prior conditions. Our lives a tapestry woven by threads we cannot see. Picture a scribe in a medieval chamber, quill in hand, writing a tale of a hero who believes he forges his own destiny, unaware that each word, each twist of plot, has already been decided by the scribe's unseen will. Are we too characters in a story penned by forces beyond our grasp, be they nature, nurture, or the silent laws of physics? Now, let us turn the mirror inward. If free will is an illusion, what does that mean for the essence of who we are? If our choices are not truly ours, does that diminish the beauty of a kind act, the courage of standing against fear, the quiet resolve to keep moving forward? Or is there a deeper freedom in accepting that we are part of a grand design, that our struggles and triumphs are notes in a symphony we cannot fully hear? Take a moment to reflect on this. Let your mind wander to a choice you made today, tracing its roots. Did it spring from you alone, or from 1,000 unseen influences whispering in the background? There is a mystery here, one that neither science nor philosophy has fully unraveled. Modern thinkers point to the brain, a labyrinth of neurons firing in patterns shaped by genetics and experience, suggesting that our decisions might be the predictable outcome of chemical dances within. Yet, in the quiet of your own heart, don't you feel a spark of something unscripted, a defiance against the notion that you are merely a machine of flesh and bone? It's as if we stand on the edge of two worlds, one where every step is preordained, and another where we carve our own path through the wilderness of existence. Perhaps the truth lies not in choosing between these realms, but in embracing the tension, the paradox itself. Imagine now a bird in flight, its wings cutting through the dawn air, soaring over a landscape of endless possibility. Does it ponder whether its journey is its own, or does it simply revel in the wind beneath its feathers? Maybe we too can find peace in the act of living, in the illusion or reality of our choices, without needing to pull back the curtain on the puppeteer. Above, let this thought settle over you like a gentle mist, obscuring the need for answers, inviting you to rest in the mystery. For whether we are free or bound, the dance continues, and each step, each breath, carries a quiet beauty all its own. Imagine, for a moment, standing in a dimly lit corridor, an endless stretch of mirrors lining both walls. Each reflective surface captures your image, and within it, another mirror and another, until the reflections spiral into an unfathomable depth. You peer closer, searching for the origin, the first face, the true self. But there is none to be found. Only an infinite regression, a cascade of echoes without a source. What if this is the very nature of consciousness, a riddle that folds in on itself, forever eluding our grasp? Consider the act of thinking about thought. When you become aware of your own awareness, it's as though you've stepped into that hall of mirrors. You observe yourself observing, and then you notice yourself noticing that observation. Where does it end? Or perhaps the better question is, where does it begin? Is there a core to this labyrinth, a primal spark of consciousness from which all else emerges? Or are we caught in an eternal loop, a recursion with no starting point, no final answer? The deeper you look, the more the boundaries blur, until the very idea of a self seems to shimmer and dissolve like a mirage on a desert horizon. This puzzle has haunted philosophers and mystics for centuries. In ancient texts, from the Upanishads to the musings of Descartes, we find whispers of this same unease, the notion that to know oneself is to chase a shadow. The Indian sage Adi Shankara spoke of the self as both the seer and the seen, an enigma that defies separation. In the West, thinkers like Kant pondered the limits of introspection, suggesting that the mind can never fully grasp itself, for to do so would require stepping outside its own frame. It's as if we are a book attempting to read its own pages while still being written, caught in a dance of endless reflection. Take a moment to reflect on this. Feel the weight of that infinite spiral. Does it unsettle you, this notion of a consciousness that mirrors itself without end? Or does it bring a strange kind of peace, a surrender to the mystery that we are, at our core, unknowable even to ourselves? Let's linger on this image of the Hall of Mirrors a little longer. Imagine reaching out to touch one of those reflections, expecting to feel cold glass, only to find your hand passing through, meeting another hand, your own, yet not your own. Each mirror holds a version of you, a fragment of awareness, but none claims to be the original. Could it be that consciousness is not a single point, not a fixed entity, but a boundless interplay of echoes? Some neuroscientists might argue that this regression is merely the brain's attempt to model itself, a feedback loop of neurons firing in curious patterns. Yet even this explanation circles back to the same riddle. Why does the brain seek to understand its own seeking? What drives this relentless inward gaze? Now, let the quiet unease of this thought settle over you like a soft mist. What if there is no first consciousness, no ultimate origin to uncover? What if awareness is not a destination but a process, an endless unfolding of questions within questions? Picture yourself walking down that corridor of mirrors, not in haste to find an end, but simply to witness the play of light and shadow, the infinite dance of reflections. There's a certain beauty in this recursion, isn't there? A reminder that perhaps the deepest truths lie not in answers, but in the act of wondering itself. As you drift with this thought, let it carry you into a space of calm curiosity. There's no need to solve the puzzle tonight. Allow the mystery of consciousness observing itself to remain just that, a mystery. Let it linger like the faint echo of your own reflection, stretching into the boundless unknown. Imagine for a moment that you are walking alone through a vast, endless desert under a sky so heavy with stars that it feels like the weight of eternity itself rests upon your shoulders. The silence is profound, broken only by the soft crunch of sand beneath your feet. And in this solitude, a question emerges from the depths of your mind, as if whispered by the night itself. Why does consciousness, this gift of awareness, so often feel intertwined with pain? Why does the very act of being awake to the world seem to carry with it a shadow of suffering? Let us wander deeper into this thought, as if tracing the footsteps of a lone traveler who carries not just the burden of their journey, but the burden of thought itself. This wanderer, weathered by time and the elements, feels the ache of each step, the sting of the sun, the gnawing hunger of an empty stomach. Yet, more than any physical discomfort, it is the weight of their own mind that presses hardest. The endless questions, the memories of loss, the quiet fear of what lies beyond the next dune. Is this suffering merely a byproduct of existence, or is it something more? Is it possible that consciousness, the very thing that allows us to marvel at the beauty of a desert sunset, is also the crucible in which our pain is forged? Consider how awareness amplifies every experience, both light and dark. When we are conscious, truly present, a fleeting moment of joy can feel like a burst of sunlight piercing through a storm. But so too does a moment of sorrow cut deeper, as if the mind sharpens the blade of every hurt. A child who scrapes their knee feels the sting, but it is the conscious mind that lingers on the pain, that replays the fall, that fears the next stumble. Without awareness, would suffering even exist as we know it? Or would it be merely a sensation, passing like a cloud across an empty sky, unnoticed and unfelt? Let us drift further into this mystery, imagining consciousness as a double-edged sword, a tool of both creation and destruction. It is through awareness that we build meaning, stories of love, purpose, and connection. Yet it is also through awareness that we encounter despair, for to know the world is to know its impermanence, to see the fragility of everything we hold dear. Picture the wanderer pausing by a withered tree in the desert, its branches twisted and barren, yet still standing against the relentless wind. In that moment of pause, they feel a kinship with the tree, a shared endurance, but also a shared decay. Is this connection born of conscious reflection, a gift that enriches their journey, or a burden that makes each step heavier? Take a moment to reflect on this. How often have you felt the weight of your own thoughts, the way they can transform a quiet evening into a storm of doubt or longing? Have you ever wondered if ignorance might be a kinder state, a release from the endless churn of the mind. Now, let us ponder an even deeper question, one that hovers like a mirage on the horizon. Is suffering the price we pay for being awake to reality? Or is it the very thing that shapes our understanding of what reality is? Think of the artists, the poets, the thinkers across centuries who have turned their pain into beauty, their anguish into insight. The paintings of Frida Kahlo, streaked with the rawness of her physical and emotional torment, speak to us across time, reminding us that suffering can be a lens through which we see the world more clearly. The verses of Rumi, born from a heart broken open by loss, weave a tapestry of longing that feels as alive today as it did centuries ago. Could it be that pain, held within the vessel of consciousness, becomes a teacher, a sculptor of the soul? Yet, there is a quiet unease in this thought, a whisper of something unresolved. If suffering shapes reality, does that mean reality itself is painted in shades of sorrow? Or is there a balance, a hidden harmony, where joy and pain are but two notes in the same melody, played by the hand of awareness? Our wanderer, sitting now beneath the starry desert sky, feels the coolness of the night against their skin, a fleeting reprieve from the day's heat. In this moment, there is no pain, only the vastness of the universe above and the stillness within. But they know, as we all do, that dawn will bring new struggles, new weights to carry. And so, the question lingers, as persistent as the desert wind. Is consciousness a burden to be endured or a gift to be cherished, even with all its thorns? Let this thought drift with you, like grains of sand carried on an unseen breeze. There is no need for an answer, not now, not yet. Simply feel the weight of it, the mystery of it, as if you too are that lone wanderer, gazing into the infinite night, wondering at the strange alchemy of awareness and pain. Imagine for a moment a silence so absolute that even the concept of sound ceases to exist, a darkness so complete that light itself is but a forgotten dream, a void so vast that the very idea of existence trembles at its edge. This is the realm of non-being, a state before consciousness, before thought, before even the whisper of something. What could such a void hold, if holding itself implies a presence that isn't there? Let us linger in this eerie stillness where nothing exists, not even the idea of nothing, and ponder a question that chills the mind. Does reality itself emerge only when awareness dares to flicker into being? Picture this void as an endless ocean of absence, not black, not empty, but beyond any descriptor our minds can grasp. It is not a place, for place demands form. It is not a time, for time demands change. It is the absence of absence, a paradox that defies every attempt to pin it down. In this non-being, there is no observer to name it, no thought to frame it, no spark to disturb its perfect stillness. And yet here we are, contemplating it, dragging it into the light of our awareness. Does this act of imagining create something where there was nothing? Does the mere act of pondering non-being weave the first thread of reality into existence? Consider the weight of this. If non-being is the canvas before the first stroke of creation, then consciousness might be the artist, dipping its brush into the void and painting the world with perception. Without a mind to witness, does a tree falling in a forest make a sound? Or is there simply no forest at all? Philosophers across ages have wrestled with this riddle, from ancient sages who meditated on the nature of emptiness to modern thinkers who question if reality hinges on observation. The void of non-being suggests a chilling possibility, that all we know, all we feel, all we are might be a fragile bloom, sprouting only because something, or someone, dared to notice. Take a moment to reflect on this. Let your mind drift to that edge, that precipice where being and non-being blur. Can you feel the quiet unease of imagining a state where even your own existence is unthinkable? It's a thought that both unsettles and calms, like standing at the shore of an ocean too vast to comprehend, knowing it could swallow you without a trace, yet finding peace in its indifference. Now, let's linger a little longer in this profound absence. What if non-being is not merely a concept, but the true default, the eternal backdrop against which consciousness plays its fleeting game? Imagine reality as a single candle flame in an infinite darkness, flickering for a moment before the void reclaims its dominion. Is our awareness, then, a rebellion against this nothingness, a desperate cry to matter, to be? Or is it a gift, a momentary window through which the void glimpses itself, as if nothingness yearned to know what it means to exist? This thought carries a strange serenity, doesn't it? To consider that all the chaos of life, all the beauty and pain, might be a brief interruption in an endless stillness. It strips away the urgency of our daily struggles, casting them as mere ripples on a surface that will, in time, return to perfect calm. Yet it also deepens the mystery of why we are here at all. If non-being is the origin, the inevitable end, then what force, what whisper, stirred the first thought into motion? Was it chance or something deeper, something beyond even the void itself? Let this question hang in the air, unanswered, as we rest in the quiet of this contemplation. There is no need to rush towards certainty, no need to fear the unknown that non-being represents. For in this moment, we are here, aware, breathing life into the void with every thought. And perhaps that is enough, to simply be, to witness, to wonder at the fragile miracle of existence against the backdrop of an unimaginable nothing. Imagine, for a moment, a world without words, a silent expanse where thoughts drift like unmoored clouds, unshaped, unnamed, untouched by the anchors of language. What would reality be in such a place? Would it even exist as we know it? Or would it dissolve into a formless chaos, waiting for a voice to call it into being? Let us wander into this quiet enigma, where the very fabric of our understanding is woven by the threads of language, each word a spell that conjures meaning from the void. Think of the first time a human uttered a sound to name something, a river, a star, a feeling. In that moment, did the river truly become a river? Or was it merely a flowing mystery until the word pinned it down, giving it shape in the mind? Language, in its essence, is a kind of magic, a tool so powerful that it carves the boundless unknown into pieces we can grasp. We speak of time, and suddenly the endless flow of moments becomes a ticking clock, a measurable thing we can fear or cherish. We whisper self, and a boundary forms, separating I from other, crafting an identity out of the nebulous soup of existence. But what if these words are not mirrors of truth, but distortions, illusions that warp our grasp of what is real? Consider how a single word can alter the landscape of thought. Call something beautiful, and it glows with a warmth that wasn't there before. Label it ugly, and it darkens under the weight of judgment. The object itself remains unchanged, yet our experience of it shifts, molded by the incantation of language. Are we then the architects of our reality, building worlds not with stone or steel, but with the syllables we choose? Or are we prisoners of these linguistic cages, unable to see beyond the bars of our own making? Let this linger in your mind for a moment. Take a moment to reflect on this. Have you ever felt the weight of a word, how it can lift you to the heavens or press you into the dust? How often do we mistake the name for the thing itself, forgetting that love is not the feeling, nor fear the trembling in our bones? Language promises clarity, yet it often obscures, draping the raw essence of life in veils of meaning that may not align with the truth beneath. Now imagine a culture with no word for time. Would their days feel less hurried, less like sand slipping through fingers if they could not name the passing hours? Or consider a tongue with no term for self. Would individuality dissolve into a shared sea of being, where I and we are indistinguishable? These are not mere curiosities, but windows into how deeply language shapes the contours of reality. It is as if words are brushes, painting the world we see, each stroke deciding what is solid and what fades into shadow. And yet, there is a quiet unease in this power. If language crafts our understanding, then what lies beyond its reach? Are there truths too vast, too slippery, to be caught in the net of words? Perhaps there are dimensions of existence that defy naming, realms where silence reigns, and meaning hums in frequencies we cannot speak. Or perhaps language itself is the ultimate illusion, a fragile scaffold we've built to stand upon, trembling over an abyss of the unsayable. Let this thought settle into the stillness. Take a moment to reflect on this. What words have shaped your world, and what might you see if you let them fall away, if only for a breath? Imagine peeling back the layers of language, stripping reality to its bare bones. Would you find chaos, or a deeper order, one that whispers in a tongue we've forgotten how to hear? As we rest in this contemplation, let the mystery of language weave its quiet spell. It is both creator and deceiver, a bridge between minds and a wall between us and the raw pulse of existence. We name, we define, we speak, and in doing so, we build the world we inhabit. But beneath every word lies a question, a shadow of doubt. Are we naming what is, or are we merely dreaming in syllables, casting spells upon a reality that might never truly be ours to know? Let this uncertainty cradle you, a gentle wave carrying you deeper into thought, or perhaps into the soft embrace of sleep. Imagine for a moment a dimly lit stage at the edge of twilight, where a solitary dancer moves with graceful precision. Their shadow stretches across the floor, an inseparable partner, mirroring every step, every turn, every breath. They are locked in an eternal waltz bound by an unspoken pact. Neither can exist without the other. This is the dance of subject and object, the ancient interplay between the observer and the observed, a riddle woven into the very fabric of our existence. What if this dance is not just a metaphor, but the heartbeat of reality itself? What if consciousness and the world it perceives are not two separate entities, but two sides of the same fleeting coin? Let us linger here in this quiet space of inquiry and trace the outlines of this mysterious partnership. Think of yourself as the dancer, your awareness casting its gaze outward, perceiving a world of colors, sounds, and textures. Every tree that sways in the wind, every ripple on a still pond, every fleeting thought that crosses your mind. It all seems to exist outside of you, an object of your observation. But pause for a moment and consider, can there truly be a world without someone to witness it? If a tree falls in a forest and no one is there to hear it, does it make a sound? This question, so simple on the surface, unravels into a deeper enigma. Perhaps the tree, the forest, the very notion of falling, only come into being because there is a mind to conceive of them. Now turn your gaze inward to the dancer within. You, the subject, the one who sees, feels, and thinks. What are you without something to see, to feel, to ponder? Imagine a consciousness stripped bare, floating in a void with nothing to observe, nothing to reflect upon. Would it still be consciousness at all? Or would it dissolve into an empty silence? The subject needs the object just as much as the shadow needs the dancer. They are intertwined, each giving meaning to the other, locked in a rhythm that neither can escape. Take a moment to reflect on this. Feel the weight of your own awareness and ask yourself, where does the boundary lie between the seer and the seen? This dance is ancient, older than the words we use to describe it. Philosophers across centuries have stood at the edge of this mystery, peering into its depths. In the traditions of the East, the teachings of Advaita Vedanta whisper of non-duality, a state where the distinction between subject and object collapses, revealing a singular reality beneath the illusion of separation. In the West, thinkers like Immanuel Kant pondered how our minds shape the world we perceive, suggesting that what we call reality might be a projection of our own inner structures. Are we truly observing an external world, or are we gazing into a mirror of our own making? where every object is painted by the brushstrokes of our consciousness. Let this thought settle over you like a soft mist. Picture the dancer and their shadow once more, their movements so perfectly synchronized that you can no longer tell which leads and which follows. What if this dance is not a struggle for dominance, but a harmony we've forgotten to hear? What if the split between subject and object is not a fracture, but an illusion, a trick of perception that hides a deeper unity? Perhaps the world we see is not outside us at all, but a reflection of something vast and indivisible, a single pulse of awareness masquerading as many. And yet, even as we ponder this unity, the dance continues. You feel the ground beneath your feet, hear the distant hum of the world, sense the weight of your own thoughts. These sensations anchor you as the subject, the observer, separate from the objects of your experience. Or do they? Could it be that this very feeling of separation is the greatest mystery of all, a veil that consciousness weaves around itself to play this eternal game of hide and seek? Sit with this uncertainty for a moment. Let it linger in the quiet corners of your mind, like the echo of a melody you can't quite place. As the twilight deepens on our imagined stage, the dancer and their shadow move slower now, their steps almost imperceptible, blending into the gathering darkness. They remind us that this dance is not something to solve, but something to witness, a rhythm that pulses through every moment of our being. Whether we are the subject gazing outward, or the object being shaped by an unseen gaze, we are part of this endless waltz, and perhaps that is enough, to simply be, to dance, to wonder at the mystery of it all, without needing to know who leads and who follows. Imagine a quiet evening, the kind where the world seems to hush itself, and the only sound is the soft rustling of your own thoughts. Now, picture a memory from your past, a fleeting moment, perhaps a childhood afternoon spent chasing shadows in a sunlit yard. But as you reach for it, the edges blur, dissolving like mist over a forgotten lake. What if that moment never truly existed outside the canvas of your mind? What if the past is nothing more than a story you've painted, stroke by stroke, to convince yourself of its reality? Let this thought settle gently, like a leaf drifting to the ground. Memory, after all, is a curious artist. It sketches vivid scenes of laughter and loss, of places we swear we've been, and words we believe we've heard. Yet, how often do we find the colors fading, the details shifting, as if the painting itself is alive, rewriting its own lines? A conversation recalled with certainty might be questioned by another who was there, their version a different shade, a different shape. And so we're left to wonder, does the past exist as a solid, unchangeable truth? Or is it merely a whisper in the gallery of our consciousness, a tale we tell to anchor ourselves in time? Consider for a moment the fragility of what we call history. Every remembered second, every triumph, every ache is held together by the delicate threads of our recollection. A forgotten day, a lost year, slips into an unseen void, as if it never was. If no one remembers a moment, did it happen at all? Or does it linger somewhere, beyond the reach of our minds, in a space we cannot touch? Take a moment to reflect on this. Let your thoughts wander to a memory you hold dear and ask yourself, is it a window to what was, or a mirror of what I wish to believe? This uncertainty weaves a quiet mystery through our lives. We build our sense of self on the foundation of memory, stacking moments like stones to form a wall of identity. I am who I am because of where I've been, we tell ourselves. But if those stones are illusions, if the past is a fiction crafted by an unreliable narrator within us, then who are we truly? Are we living in a story of our own making, each chapter edited by the silent hand of forgetfulness, each page a blend of truth and imagination? Picture a forgotten moment now, one that once burned brightly, but has since faded into the haze. Perhaps it's the scent of rain on a long ago morning, or the sound of a voice you can no longer place. As it dissolves before your mind's eye, notice how it carries a strange weight, a melancholy beauty. It's as if memory, in its imperfection, reminds us of our own fleeting nature. We are beings of recollection, yet we cannot hold on to every piece. And in that loss, there's a quiet poetry, a reminder that even the act of remembering is an act of creation, a dance between what was and what we wish to keep. Let this thought linger as a soft ripple in your mind. If the past is a construct, a fragile painting hung in the gallery of our inner world, then perhaps reality itself is not as firm as we imagine. Perhaps we are not just remembering a story, but writing one with every breath, every glance, every fleeting thought. What then is the difference between the life we've lived and the life we've dreamed? As you drift with this question, allow the mystery of memory to cradle you, its uncertainties a lullaby for the restless mind. Imagine, for a moment, that the boundaries of your reality begin to blur, as if the world you know is a canvas melting under an unseen heat. Picture yourself stepping beyond the familiar, into a strange and shimmering landscape where the laws of logic and form no longer hold. What if, in this fleeting transcendence, you glimpse something truer than the waking world, or perhaps just another veil of illusion? Tonight, we journey into the realm of altered states of consciousness, where the mind becomes both explorer and enigma, wandering through territories that defy explanation. Consider the quiet stillness of a meditative trance, where the chatter of thought dissolves into a vast, unbroken silence. In those moments, the self seems to slip away, as if you've become a mere ripple on the surface of an infinite lake. Time slows, or perhaps ceases altogether, and the world feels less solid, less certain. Or think of the vivid, kaleidoscopic visions induced by ancient rituals or modern substances, psychedelics that paint reality in hues unseen by the sober eye. Here, walls breathe, colors sing, and the very fabric of existence seems to unravel into patterns too intricate to grasp. These are not mere hallucinations, but doorways, thresholds to something beyond the mundane. Yet, as you stand in these surreal landscapes, a question whispers through the haze. Are you seeing a deeper truth? Or are you merely lost in another layer of the mind's endless dreaming? History is rich with tales of those who sought such states, from the shamans of ancient tribes who communed with spirits through sacred plants, to the mystics who fasted in desert caves, chasing visions of the divine. They believed these altered realms held answers, insights into the nature of existence, the soul, or the cosmos itself. In their eyes, the ordinary world was but a shadow, a pale reflection of a greater reality accessible only through the bending of consciousness. Even today, science probes these frontiers, studying the brain's response to meditation or the chemical dance of psychedelics, seeking to map the uncharted territories of the mind. Yet, for all our tools and theories, the core mystery remains untouched. Do these states reveal the hidden architecture of the universe? Or are they simply illusions spun by a brain desperate to make sense of chaos? Let us linger on this thought. When reality melts and reforms in these altered states, it feels as though the mind is no longer a prisoner of the body, no longer bound by the rigid scaffolding of the everyday. You might feel as if you've touched something eternal, something that exists beyond the fleeting illusions of time and space. But what if this sense of transcendence is itself a trick? What if the profound truths you uncover in these moments are no more real than a mirage in a desert? Beautiful, compelling, but ultimately empty. Take a moment to reflect on this. Have you ever felt your perception shift, even briefly, into a state where the world seemed utterly new, utterly strange? What did you find there? Clarity, or just another mystery? There's a quiet allure in these experiences, a pull toward the unknown that feels almost primal. It's as if the mind, in its deepest recesses, yearns to escape its own confines, to peel back the layers of reality and glimpse what lies beneath. Yet, with every step into these altered states, we are confronted by the same ancient riddle. Is the truth we seek out there in some ultimate reality, or is it woven into the very fabric of our perception, changing with every shift of consciousness? Perhaps the surreal landscapes of meditation, or the vivid distortions of psychedelics are not revelations of the world, but mirrors of the mind itself, reflections of our longing to understand, to connect, to transcend. As we drift through this contemplation, let the uncertainty settle around you like a soft mist. There is no need to grasp for answers, no urgency to define what cannot be defined. Instead, imagine yourself standing at the edge of one of these altered realms, gazing into a horizon that shimmers with possibility. Whether it holds truth or illusion, whether it unveils the universe or merely the intricacies of your own thoughts, there is a strange beauty in the not knowing. Let this beauty linger. Let it carry you into a space of quiet wonder, where the mind can rest, unburdened by the weight of certainty, free to wander through dreams both strange and familiar. Imagine for a moment that you're standing before someone you've known for years, a friend, a loved one, perhaps a stranger whose gaze you've met just once. You look into their eyes, searching for something beyond the surface, a flicker of understanding, a spark of shared awareness. But as you peer deeper, a quiet unease creeps in. Are they truly there, behind those eyes, feeling and thinking as you do? Or are you staring into a void, a mirror that reflects only your own longing to connect? This is the enigma that has haunted thinkers for centuries, the problem of other minds, a riddle that whispers to us in the stillness of our most solitary moments. Let's linger here, in this unsettling space between knowing and doubting. We walk through life surrounded by others, their voices filling the air, their actions shaping the world alongside our own. We laugh with them, argue with them, build entire histories together. And yet, beneath it all, there lies a profound uncertainty. Can we ever truly know if another person is conscious in the same way we are? Can we pierce the veil of their outward expressions to touch the inner reality of their thoughts, their feelings, their very being? Or are we, in some unfathomable way, utterly alone, our minds the only ones to ever know the weight of existence? Think of it as a theatre of shadows, a stage where figures move and speak, their forms so convincing that we forget to question what lies behind the curtain. We assume the players are like us, alive with intention and awareness, because to imagine otherwise feels like a betrayal of everything we hold dear. But what if they are mere projections, intricate illusions crafted by a reality we cannot grasp? The philosopher René Descartes once wrestled with this very doubt, retreating into the fortress of his own mind with the famous declaration, "I think, therefore I am." He could be certain of his own consciousness, but the minds of others remained an uncharted territory, a land he could never truly explore. Even now, centuries later, we stand on the same precipice, gazing across an invisible chasm that separates us from those we claim to know. Take a moment to reflect on this. Picture someone close to you, their face vivid in your memory. Recall the way their eyes light up with joy or darken with sorrow. Can you feel the certainty of their inner world, or does a whisper of doubt linger, like a shadow at the edge of your vision? This mystery deepens when we consider how we come to believe in other minds at all. As children, we learn to read the cues, the smiles, the tears, the words that seem to carry meaning. We build a bridge of trust, assuming that these signs point to a consciousness akin to our own. But what if this bridge is built on nothing more than hope, a fragile construct of our own making? Science offers no clear answer. No test can definitively prove the presence of another's awareness. We can map the brain, trace its electric pulses, observe behavior down to the smallest gesture, yet the essence of subjective experience remains, elusive, locked away in a realm we cannot enter. Consider a quiet analogy. Imagine you're standing by a lake at dusk, the water still and dark, reflecting the fading light. You see another figure on the opposite shore, their silhouette mirrored in the glassy surface. You wave, and they wave back, or so it seems. But as the light dims, you begin to wonder. Is there truly someone there, mirroring your gesture? Or are you seeing only a trick of the water, an echo of your own movement? This is the heart of the problem of other minds, a question that ripples through our understanding of connection, of love, of what it means to be human. Are we reaching across a divide to touch another soul? Or are we forever gesturing into the unknown, hoping for a response that may never come? Let this thought settle over you like a gentle mist. There's a strange beauty in this uncertainty, a reminder of the depth and mystery that surrounds every interaction. We may never know if others truly share the same inner light, but perhaps that's not the point. Perhaps the act of reaching out, of believing in their presence, is what weaves the fabric of our shared reality. Or perhaps, in the quietest corners of our being, we must confront the possibility that we are alone in ways we can never fully comprehend. Take a moment to reflect on this. Let your mind drift to a memory of connection, a moment when you felt truly seen by another. Hold that feeling close, even as the shadow of doubt lingers. For in this delicate balance between certainty and mystery, we find a profound space to simply be, to wonder, to feel, to exist amidst the unknown. Imagine, for just a moment, that you are floating weightless in the boundless expanse of the cosmos, a solitary flicker of thought amid an ocean of eternal darkness. Picture the universe stretching endlessly in every direction, a canvas of stars, and voids so vast that even the concept of distance loses its meaning. And yet, here you are, a tiny, fragile spark of awareness, somehow gazing out into this infinity. What if, in this fleeting moment of existence, you are not merely a bystander, but the very lens through which the universe beholds itself? Let this thought settle into your mind as we drift further into the cosmic perspective, a vantage point so immense that it humbles every notion we hold about our place in reality. Consider the scale of it all. Billions of galaxies, each cradling billions of stars, each star perhaps nurturing worlds we will never know. Our Earth, this pale blue dot, is but a whisper in the grand chorus of creation, a mere speck suspended in a sunbeam. And within this speck, within the intricate folds of your mind, consciousness blooms, a phenomenon so improbable, so delicate, that it feels almost like a miracle against the backdrop of cosmic indifference. Why does awareness exist at all in a universe so unfathomably vast? Is it an accident, a fleeting quirk of matter and energy, or is there a deeper purpose woven into the fabric of existence? Picture the universe as a slumbering giant, an entity of incomprehensible scale and age, existing without thought, without feeling, for eons beyond reckoning. And then, in a quiet corner of its being, a spark ignites, consciousness emerging like a faint whisper in the silence. Through your eyes, through the intricate dance of neurons and synapses, this giant begins to see. Through your heart, it begins to feel. Through your questions, it begins to wonder. What if we are not separate from the cosmos, but rather its very means of self-reflection? What if every thought you've ever had, every dream that has stirred, your soul, is the universe attempting to understand its own nature? Take a moment to reflect on this. Let the weight of this idea settle over you like a gentle tide. Feel the vastness of it, the way it stretches your sense of self beyond the confines of skin and bone out into the endless night. Are you merely a fragment of stardust, or are you the universe's mirror, polished by time and chance to reflect its own mystery? Now, drift deeper into this cosmic reverie. Imagine the countless other worlds that might exist, orbiting distant suns in galaxies we cannot see. If consciousness exists there too, in forms we cannot fathom, are they also gazing into the void, asking the same questions we do? Are they too a part of this great act of self-knowing? Or perhaps we are alone, a singular anomaly in an otherwise unthinking expanse, a solitary eye blinking open in the dark, destined to close again before the universe even notices. There is something both awe-inspiring and humbling in this thought, a quiet reminder of our impermanence against the eternal. Yet, there is also a strange comfort in it. as if being a fleeting spark makes our light all the more precious. Consider the possibility that consciousness, wherever it exists, is not a random occurrence, but a fundamental thread in the tapestry of reality. What if the universe, in all its cold mechanics of gravity and entropy, yearns to know itself, and we are its instrument? Every moment of wonder, every pang of longing, every quiet realization you've ever experienced might be the cosmos whispering to itself through you. In this light, even the smallest act of awareness, pausing to watch a sunset, feeling the weight of a memory, pondering the stars, becomes an act of cosmic significance. Let this perspective linger in your mind as you float through the vastness, a tiny beacon of thought amid the infinite. There is no need to grasp for answers, no urgency to define what cannot be defined. Simply be here, in this moment of quiet awe, feeling the weight and wonder of being the universe's gaze turned inward. Let the mystery of it all cradle you, like the gentle pull of gravity, drawing you into a deeper stillness. What if everything you've ever held as true, every foundation of reality you've leaned upon, was nothing more than a fragile illusion, ready to dissolve at the slightest touch of doubt? Imagine standing on a beach at twilight, the air heavy with the scent of salt and the whisper of retreating waves. Before you lies a sandcastle, meticulously crafted. Its towers and walls are testament to hours of care and certainty. But as the tide creeps closer, a single wave, gentle yet relentless, sweeps over it, and in an instant, the structure crumbles, returning to the formless expanse of sand. This is the fragility of certainty, the quiet truth that nothing we believe about the world, about ourselves, is immune to the tides of questioning. Consider for a moment the beliefs that anchor your life. Perhaps it's the conviction that time moves forward in a straight line, or that the ground beneath your feet is unshakably real. Maybe it's the quiet assurance of who you are, carved out of memories and choices. But what happens when you peer closer, when you allow a sliver of doubt to seep in? The notion of time begins to waver as you realize it's a construct of human thought, a way to measure something that may not even exist outside our minds. The ground, too, becomes less certain when you recall that science tells us it's mostly empty space, a dance of particles held together by forces we barely comprehend. Even your sense of self starts to unravel when you question whether your memories are accurate, or if they're stories you've told yourself to make sense of a chaotic past. This unraveling isn't something to fear, though. There's a strange beauty in watching the sandcastle dissolve, in seeing the intricate patterns of your beliefs wash away into the vastness of the unknown. It's as if the tide reveals a deeper truth, that certainty was never the point. What if the structures we build, whether in our minds or in the world, are meant to be temporary, fleeting monuments to our need for order in a universe that defies it? What if the act of questioning, of letting go, is not a loss, but a return to something more primal, more honest? Take a moment to reflect on this. What belief of yours feels most unshakable, and how would it feel to watch it crumble, to stand bare before the mystery of what remains? History whispers to us of this fragility in countless voices. Think of the ancient scholars who once swore the earth was the center of all things, their maps and models a fortress of certainty. Yet, when the tide of new observation rolled in, through the quiet gaze of Copernicus and Galileo, their castle fell, and the universe expanded into something far stranger, far vaster. Or consider the certainty of empires, built on the belief that their reign would last forever, only to be eroded by time, by rebellion, by the slow, inevitable shift of human thought. Each collapse, though painful, opened a door to something new, a wider horizon of possibility. Isn't it curious how doubt, though it destroys, also creates? It clears the sand, leaving space for a new castle to rise, even if only for a little while. And so, we stand at the edge of this endless shore, watching wave after wave of uncertainty reshape the landscape of our understanding. Perhaps the lesson isn't to cling tighter to our beliefs, to fortify the walls of our sandcastles against the tide. Perhaps it's to embrace the impermanence, to find a quiet wonder in the act of rebuilding, of reimagining. What if uncertainty itself is the truest state of being, a vast ocean that holds more depth than any structure we could ever craft? Imagine letting go of the need to know, stepping back from the crumbling towers of your convictions, and simply watching as the sand merges with the sea. There's a peace in that surrender, a stillness that comes from accepting that the unknown is not an enemy, but a companion. Let this thought linger as you breathe in the cool, salty air of twilight. Picture yourself sitting on that beach, the remnants of your sandcastle scattered at your feet, the horizon stretching endlessly before you. There's no rush to rebuild, no urgency to define what's real or true. For now, there's only the gentle rhythm of the waves, the soft murmur of questions that don't demand answers. What might it feel like to live in this space of wonder, to let the fragility of certainty become not a burden, but a quiet, endless invitation to explore? Imagine yourself lying on a soft, cool patch of earth, the night wrapping around you like a velvet cloak. Above, the sky is a canvas of endless stars, each a silent witness to the questions that stir in your heart. There is no urgency here, no need for answers, just the quiet expanse of wonder stretching out before you. What if the greatest mystery of all, the enigma of consciousness itself, is not meant to be solved? What if it is, instead, an endless question, a puzzle that unfolds into more puzzles, leading us not to conclusions, but to a deeper, more profound sense of awe? Consider for a moment the nature of a question. It is a doorway, isn't it? A threshold that beckons us to step beyond what we know into the vast unknown. Consciousness, that elusive spark within us, is perhaps the ultimate question. It is the voice that whispers in the silence of your mind, asking who you are, why you are, and what this all means. Yet, every time we reach for an answer, the question shifts, morphing into something new, something just out of grasp. It is as if the very act of questioning is the essence of being aware, as if to be conscious is to forever wonder. Picture yourself under this starlit sky, the weight of the day slipping away, leaving only the gentle rhythm of your breath. Each thought that arises feels like a star flickering into existence, bright for a moment, then fading into the dark. What if consciousness is not a thing to be held or understood, but a process, an eternal unfolding? Philosophers across centuries have grappled with this, from the ancient musings of sages in quiet groves to the modern thinkers scribbling equations in dimly lit rooms. They all arrive at the same precipice, the realization that to define consciousness is to limit it, and yet to leave it undefined is to dwell in mystery. Isn't there a strange comfort in that? A permission to simply be without the burden of certainty? Take a moment to reflect on this. Let your mind wander among the stars above, each one a question without an answer, each one a reminder of how vast the unknown truly is. Feel the earth beneath you, steady and silent, holding space for every thought, every doubt, every fleeting spark of awareness. There is no rush here, no demand for clarity, only the soft invitation to rest in the not knowing. As you lie there, consider the possibility that this endless question of consciousness is not a problem to be solved, but a companion on the journey. It is the quiet hum beneath every experience, the unseen current that carries us through dreams and waking alike. What if the beauty of being conscious lies not in understanding it, but in feeling it, in noticing the way a single thought can light up the dark, or how a moment of stillness can feel like eternity? Perhaps the mystery is the gift. Perhaps the endless question is not a challenge, but a lullaby, sung by the universe itself to ease us into wonder, into peace, into the gentle drift of thought or sleep. So rest here under this infinite sky, with the stars as your silent guardians. Let the question of consciousness linger, unanswered, unresolved. Let it be a soft whisper in the night, a reminder that some mysteries are not meant to be unraveled, but to be felt, to be lived. And as you close your eyes, or simply soften into this moment, allow yourself to surrender to the unknown, to find solace in the endless, beautiful question that weaves through us all.